All right, welcome everybody to the masterclass put on by DoorGrow here. And we're excited to get into talking about websites. And in this class, we're going to be going over the website conversion killers. Like, what are the things on your website that might be preventing you from making more money, preventing business? And what are the things that you need in order to make the website effective? So, we've got a small enough group today. So if you could throw your website in the chat, I'd be happy to pull up your website. We could probably take a look at it and use some examples to go through. But let's start with a basic principle. I'm going to see if I can share my screen here, and we're going to go over what I call the 3 questions. So, all right, let me hit share screen. And let me put it on do not disturb. All right, cool. Cool. Here we go. All right. Cool. So welcome. All right. So we're going to talk about websites, specifically PM websites, and on property management websites. What historically I noticed when I first came into this industry, like back in 2008, my brother came to me and was like, "Hey, could you help me with a website?" What I noticed was there was a heavy focus on tenants. So I'd see a website and it'd have like a logo here, and then it'd have some sort of big button or a button up here that was like rent, pay rent online, or something like this. And I was like, and so I said, "Oh, is getting people to pay rent like really difficult?" He's like, "Not really. Do you want is the site for tenants?" And he's like, "No, not really. That's not like what I want more of. I want more clients." I'm like, "Okay, who are your clients?" Right. So first, let's talk about target audience, because there's no point in trying to make the site before we're clear on who your target audience is. Okay. So target audience. Now for the website, we have multiple audiences. What do you think some of those audiences are? Feel free to unmute or throw it in the chat. What do you think? Who are some of the people that need information on your website?
People that use property managers now.
People that use property managers now? Is that what you said? Yeah,
Or people that self-manage.
Okay. So cool. So we've got prospective clients, right? Is one of your audiences. And then people that are using you now. So you've got existing clients. What else?
Hired landlords.
What's that?
Hired landlords.
Hired landlords?
Tired
landlords. Yeah, I would put that in the prospective clients category, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who else needs information from your website? Do you want people to pay rent?
No.
Yes, right? So we've got maybe existing tenants, right? And prospective tenants. So I'll put prospective first. We'll match the pattern here. Prospective tenants. And we've got existing tenants. So here's kind of the challenge with a property management website is you don't have just one target audience that needs information on this website, right? You want tenants to come here that are existing to make sure they can figure out how to pay rent. Existing tenants want to see your available rental properties, right? But there's only one group here that really should be the focus of the website. Which one of these do you want way more of?
Prospective clients.
Prospective clients, right? That's, yeah, Jason, you get the gold star. It's the name. Good job. All right. So prospective clients is really who the majority of the site should be geared towards. And what I noticed when I came into this industry is this was not the case. Most sites were like focused on the wrong things, the wrong people. There was actually the most of the focus was on existing tenants or prospective tenants. It was very tenant focused. Here's how to apply. Here's how to rent. Here's like our qualifications. They even had like sometimes checklists for like checking out their like checking out the property or whatever, move in and move out, like checklist, stuff like this. Or they'd have stuff for existing clients, owner portal, right? Tenant portal. Like this is all for existing people you're working with. So the challenge is there wasn't as much focus on prospective clients. And so they weren't able to attract or get as many prospective clients. So let's talk about that target audience on a homepage. Now, if you recognize this, and we mapped out, and I used to do this, well, like you could sit there and map out every single thing that all of these people would be looking for. And then we can make sure that it's included in the website. Good news is if you work with DoorGrow, you don't have to do that because we've already done this like hundreds and hundreds of times. And we have this stuff just built in by default. So we know what everybody's kind of looking for, and we know how to optimally put the stuff for these groups off kind of to the side or up way at the top or down in the footer. So it's out of the way while keeping the main focus on selling to prospective clients. Okay. So let's talk about real quick about the homepage. So here we have a homepage. We've got the logo here, XYZ management. And then we've got like maybe 5 main menu items. So one conversion killer is when your logo is not on the left. Generally, here in the US or English-speaking countries, we generally read from left to right. There are other countries that do something different, but we start at the left. And so the logo should be in the top left position typically. You'll see some people do something weird where it's in the middle or off to the right. Generally, it's going to be best if it's off to the left and your menu is to the right of that. And generally, you want the menu, another conversion killer. It's been proven to decrease conversions if your menu has more than 5 menu items. So one thing to take a look at is if your main menu has more than 5 items, then it starts to feel a little bit too crazy or too busy. And it doesn't matter. You could have thousands of pages on your site, but you should have your top menu be 5 or less. Okay. And you can nest and have submenus or have pages underneath or have 1,000 articles on your blog or whatever. And it will all get indexed and crawled by Google, but you only want to have 5 menu items or less. It's been proven that creates a sense of simplicity and ease. And the cleaner and more simple your site is, the better. Another conversion killer is how kind of dark or cumbersome your site is. So generally sites that are more white are going to be perceived as easier to use. So one of the subtle reasons why Facebook did better than MySpace is because MySpace allowed people to kind of pick their own color schemes and colors, and people would make very dark theme things and make the background look like outer space, and like it was like crawling around inside of Las Vegas. It was just crazy, right? And then Facebook came along and they were like, everything's going to be white with a tiny bit of blue, and it's going to be really simple, right? And so Facebook, if you actually go to Facebook, the page is crazy. Like there's a ton of stuff on there, but they keep the color scheme so white and so light, it creates a greater sense of a perception of ease. And so the darker you tend to make things, the more difficult people will tend to perceive it, if that makes sense. And so the more clean and simple, the better. Another factor, so let's put a headline here so we can show you. Also, another conversion optimization tactic I would recommend is that you put your phone number top right. Make it easy to call you, but make sure somebody's actually answering it. But having a phone number top right means they don't have to search around, look for the phone, because some people might just want to call you and say, hey, I would like property management. Could I work with you? Right? So not having your phone number top right could be a conversion killer. It could cost you conversions, which means people converting into clients or getting a lead from your website, depending on what the conversion goal is, right? So let's put a headline here. Let's say we'll pick a place. We'll say Phoenix property management. I'm not going to write it all out. Put done with, excellence or something like that, right? We're just going to put some sort of headline. So this main headline, one other conversion rate optimization tactic is we want white space, right? So if I have the headline, and this is the whole page that you see when you land on the page, is just like this. This is a ton of white space, right? All of this space. White space in design creates importance. Now, this would be a bit extreme, right? But to be clear, the more space around something, the more people will notice it. And I just to show you as an example, oops, let me change my eraser to this. All right, let me show you this as an example. If we take this and we just make this like really big, it doesn't feel or seem as important. It's just kind of hard to read it. Maybe it's taking up so much space, right? And so in general, let's talk about the three questions people have when they land on your page. So the area that you see on the website, and I'll draw a line here, that you see at the top when you first land on the page, we refer to kind of like newspapers in the design community. And so when you take a newspaper, and usually they're folded in half, right? And the most important real estate on the newspaper, they would say, is above the fold. It's what you see when the paper lands on your porch, right? If it's open. And because half of it is missing, half of it's folded, it's below the fold. So this down here is below the fold. The most important real estate on your homepage or on any landing page that somebody enters your site is above the fold. That's the most important real estate, right? Location, location, location. So we want to make sure we answer three key questions. And if you don't do this, you are losing money. You're losing conversion rates. The first question is, do you do what I need? What do you do and where? That may not always be clear, especially if your name, let's say your name is Logo Realty. Do you do property management? Maybe not. Your branding's off, right? And so sometimes just the branding can cost you business. That is a conversion leak. So we definitely wouldn't want it to be realty or real estate or something like that, right? It would be better if you were Logo Property Management. So we want to make sure your biggest, boldest headline on the page answers that first question. What do you do and where? We manage rental properties in Phoenix, Arizona, or Phoenix Property Management done with excellence, or we make property management in Phoenix awesome, or something like this, right? So something to where you are mentioning the location and property management. That's the first question. Do you do what I need? Do you do what I'm looking for? Second question should be some sort of maybe sub headline or something else. This next question they have once they know that you do what they're looking for is, why should I choose you? Why you? So this could be some sort of sub headline. This could be some bullet points, maybe like 3 max. So for example, it could be, it could look like, get peace of mind concerning your rental property, or something like this, right? What's in it for them? Why should they choose you? Or maybe you have some accolade or praise that you've achieved, like rated #1 property management company by the Better Business Bureau and the local chamber of commerce, whatever, right? Which would be awesome if you could make a claim like that, right? So why should they choose you? And the subtext of that is over your competition, really. Like why should I choose you instead of somebody else? The third question that they have is then what? What do you want me to do? What's the next logical step that I would maybe be willing to take? Right? So in a website, that might be view our pricing. So this is what that might look like. it would probably be some sort of button. Usually you probably have two buttons. One would be highlighted. One would be what's called a ghost button. And one would be maybe like view pricing. And another would be like contact us or something. Okay. Viewing pricing is a very logical next step. That's very tempting. They would go to that page, and then we want to make that page sell effectively and answer more deeply these questions. Now, as we get into below the fold on the site, we're going to go deeper into each of these questions that they have, giving them some reasons why they should choose you, explaining what you do, stuff like that, having a clear call to action, etc. So these are some key conversion tools. Generally, I would recommend that your menu, you would have maybe your first menu item should be like property management. Maybe your last one should be contact us. One of these should be an about page. One of them should be pricing. About. And then one should be your current rentals that are available. Okay. Your available rentals. This is going to be the highest traffic page on the site generally because of all of the other target audiences, which are the prospective tenants. And there's just, you're going to get a lot more people coming to check that out. And even owners will want to go check that out to see what's going on there. Right. And so that's going to be a typical menu. And then a lot of things might be nested underneath property management, maybe like city keyword landing pages, stuff like that. Okay. Any questions about this so far? No. Makes sense? Okay, cool. Now, I teach this in Website Secrets in our training and a lot of other stuff. But one of the things that people will do is they'll start here visually, move across, and then they'll come down here and move like this. Or heat maps show that people will go kind of like this, and they call it an F layout because they start over here on the side and they start to do this. Okay. F layout or Z layout, which means here, what I've done here is everything in here is centered. I've got a centered menu, like buttons, everything is centered, like not menu, but I mean centered main headline and a centered subheadline and this two centered buttons, right? So it's kind of down the middle. So they're more likely to do this. They're going to start here and probably end up here on this main call to action. So your main call to action wants, if you want to convert effectively, should be at the end of a Z layout, would be a lot more effective, if that makes sense. So now some other ways that this could be laid out that we'll do with clients sometimes. See if I can move this. Oops, I stole one of these guys. There we go. Is this could all be aligned off to the left here. And then we could have some sort of person here, right? This could be you. Maybe you're a dude, you got a nice tie on, you look really cool, right? And you look very professional, and it's got a little quote here that says, I love helping people with their investments, or something like this, right? And so this can help increase conversions as well. Having a real person, probably you, the business owner. It could be a past client. They did a great job for me, something like this. But having a face of somebody that is making eye contact with them, like I'm doing right now, looking at the camera, helps to release oxytocin, which is a trust hormone. So not having any humans is a conversion killer for your website, not having any people on your website. And so you'll go to some property management websites, look at some of your competitors, and they have no humans anywhere on the homepage. But you'll see a bunch of buildings or properties, and there's no people anywhere. It feels like you're in some sort of weird post-apocalyptic, like ghost town. There's a lack of humanity there. And when there's a lack of humanity, there's a lack of emotion, and there's a lack of connection. Now you can have a whole bunch of faces on your site and maybe they're stock photos. They're like cheesy people and they're all like really good looking and they're smiling really big and they're excessively happy doing stupid shit that they shouldn't be that happy about, right? So you can have stock photos, but that's not going to be as good or high converting as having some real people, right? Like real images of clients, real images of the business owner, real images of your team members, stuff like this. And so having a hero photo here can be really effective, right? And can increase trust. And it creates a sense or a feeling of transparency. So not having any sort of human above the fold is a conversion killer. It serves to not help conversions, right? Or make you lose them. What would be a good place for a short video? OB asks. That's a great question. So if we take this, here, let me do this. Dun, 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 dun. All right, we've got Mr. Suit here. Let's say this is you, OB. You got a nice suit. You're looking sharp. What we could do is let's take this and we'll shrink it down. Da, 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 da. And we make this a video. And it's got a nice big play button on it. And they can see your face and they're like, oh, look at this, right? Still has the same impact of the face, but then there's a video that they could play there. So sometimes with clients, we'll put a video above the fold and it's got a person or a face or something in the thumbnail or the frozen cap like portion of the video before it plays. Okay. So that's another way that you can do that. Alternatively, we could keep it back just the way it was. And you could put a video maybe below your headlines. Watch video on how we, blah, blah, blah. And you have like a link or something, right? So it could be a link and you click it and pops it up in a light box and they can watch it right there without having to change pages. So that's another option. Okay. So we've answered the 3 core questions. We've talked about hero photos. We've talked about creating trust. So some other factors that may exist on the page, and let's pull up. I want to look at some pages here. I'm going to pull up all y'all's sites here. Okay. All right. Property management, Jacksonville, Northeast Florida. Okay. Cool. So whose site is this one? This is Barron's. Okay, cool. So Barron, your menu's a little crazy, right? You've got a lot of menu items here. Home, services, owners. So a lot of times you can just get rid of home because the logo everybody knows is the home button now. It's kind of standard. So you can kind of.
Jason, are you sharing your screen?
I'm
see
still
your
sharing my iPad, but here, let me
Maybe you
see.
want to share that so we can see the same thing?
Yeah, we'll look at it. Share screen. Okay. Here we go. There. Cool. Can you see this? All right. So here you see the website. So we can get rid of home. Services is pretty generic. So I would change this to property management. Owners and tenants, I would put up here as a little link, like owners, tenants, and it could be a little menu. And that's where I would nest underneath the tenant and owner links, login, pay rent, repair request, right? This is how we typically will set it up. And then I would probably put the referral link up there as well, right? So that realtors could find it if you point it out to them, but it's not like one of your main things. So we'd have property management, we'd have search rentals, about us, maybe pricing, and then contact us, right? Which is lacking, but it's the most important. We want them to reach out, right? You do have the phone number top right. So as far as the main headline, Jacksonville Property Management perfected. All right, cool. Mentions the location, little bold claim here, and then answers the second question, why choose us? We eliminate the stress of property ownership. That sounds great. That sounds like something they might want, right? So I think that's a good example. And then I would have some sort of call to action. At least one button, but maybe two, which would be like maybe view pricing and contact us. No contact is here. No contact is here. No call to action above the fold. So this is like we're missing the third thing. Okay. And here's a house. Lights are on, but nobody's home, right? There's no people. So ideally, later, Baron, you get a photo in front of a property in your market and you're standing up in front and like you look really good, right? So, and you're off maybe to the side. So we have a hero photo. We can see the property in the background and we have a good example, right? Would be good. Here's some numbers that could be cool, I guess, to showcase stuff. You know, some vanity metrics, as I call them. And then here you're trying to qualify people that are visiting the site. What are they looking for? I think it's a little confusing because I can't click any of this. None of this is clickable. And these are links, but it's not clear that they're links until I move over them. And I don't know what the difference is between a down arrow and some right arrows, like, you know, that sort of thing. But having 3 different links, I would make the whole thing clickable and have one main button that takes them to the next step. Because you're already trying to split them up into 3 different audiences here, which you could do. Here we have welcome. So a lot of times on older sites, you'll see welcome messages. You don't need to welcome anybody to your website. Like people know that they're at your website, like start talking about yourself. And you have a video which can help increase conversion rates. We manage all types. As your Jacksonville property manager, we take care of everything. So here we're answering the question, what do you do? Is what I need. We're going deeper in that. Here's a call to action. Get a free rental analysis. I like that. Don't just take our word for it. So is there testimonials that should be loading here? No. Okay. Don't just take our word for it. And then I would have testimonials. That would make sense, right? Like take other people's word for it instead, right? So here you could embed like a lot of our clients will have a gather kudos code snippet or something like that where it's pulling testimonials. Looks like some maybe blog articles. And I don't know what all this is. Keyword stuffing maybe, but
Yeah.
okay. Okay. And then current tenants, prospective tenants. Yeah, these could also be little menus at the top, property owners. Okay, cool. So let's look at verified property management. 5 menu items or less. We've got the phone number here, which is a good spot. We've got the realtor referral program, tenant menu, owners, just one page. Here we've got areas we serve. So they have some city keyword landing pages, which can be effective, and about pricing, rental search, contact, right? Real simple. Here we can see the team. We can see some people here. Dennis and crew, so that you're like, oh, they're real people we'd be working with. They've got the main above the fold property management, Santa Clarita. Super clear, right? You live in Santa Clarita, you're like, and you need property management, or you have a property in Santa Clarita, Clarita, you want managed. You can't say it. Then you're like, hey, I'm at the right place. And clear call to action, view pricing, contact us. Trusted partners, so we have trust symbols. Not having trust symbols can kill conversions. Having trust symbols increases conversion rates, especially if you put these below or next to your main lead capture form on the page. It can increase conversion rates. You can also put these in the footer on your site on every page. So these are some good examples. You can always get your local realtor organization. You can always have the equal housing opportunity symbol. You can add a local chamber of commerce. You can go and pay the Better Business Bureau and get one of their icons to throw on here as well as part of it. If you have any awards, you could do that. You can basically go buy trust symbols. Like if you join NARPM, you can add the local NARPM chapter's trust symbol. You can add the national one, etc. Right? So what do? So here, these are called callouts. And what's nice about callouts is notice there's headings with symbols. It makes it very easy to digest content. I don't have to read all of this unless something's interesting. And then maybe I'm like, man, tenant screening, what do they do? We only select highly qualified ones. Oh, good, because I always select the worst, right? So I'm like, this is great. So if you're looking for something in particular, you can go a little bit deeper. Oh, how do they deal with evictions? Should a tenant relationship ever sour? We'll help you navigate the ins and outs of this. Okay. All right, cool. Maybe I'll ask them about that. Right. So you can see all the things that they might do because not everybody knows what property management is necessarily. So this answers the question, what do you do? Is it what I need? So they're like, well, what do I need? I want financial reporting, rent collection. Awesome. Maintenance coordination. Cool. Property inspections, evictions, legal guidance. Why choose us? Next question. Question number 2. Why should I choose you to do this? Learn what sets us apart. We understand local rentals. We know California tenant law. Awesome. It's easy to reach us. Oh, that would be fantastic. Honesty and transparency come first. Cool. We live up to our name. We're a proven partner, blah, blah, blah. We put honesty first, right? Hear real feedback from our clients. So we have a real face here. There's Heather, satisfied client. They've been amazing. They have incredible detailed and punctual customer service, right? So one thing you could do to, this is a big sort of long testimonial. You could just take maybe a smaller piece of this. Like maybe they have excellent contractors who help handle all repairs, or it could be the entire team has been amazing, or something like that. And I put that, it could be a bolder headline at the top. So they don't have to read the whole thing. They can get the gist of it, right? Might be, since it's kind of long. If it's really short, then you don't need to do that. This one's kind of in between. The prompt responses are reassuring. That's a pretty good statement. Staffed by people, or this just staffed by people who answer the phone. That sets you apart from a lot of companies, right? So that'd be a great snippet, right? Read original review. So yeah, schedule a free rental analysis. So notice I call this the testimonial sandwich, right? We've got, and I guess it's built around the lead capture form. So we've got some proof, some evidence. Then we have the lead capture. Schedule a free rental analysis. So we're capturing a lead here, and we're talking in terms of the benefit they would get. If you have a lead, if you don't have a lead capture form on your website, you are costing yourself conversions. You're losing money. Because if you don't have that third step where you which is the third question is, what do you want me to do? What should I do next? What logical next step should I take? Because you've told me why I should use you and you do what I need. So the third question is like, why should I do it? What should I do next? What do you want me to do? And so this is where you want to have a really solid call to action, but it needs to speak in terms of what they are going to get, what they want, not contact us if you're interested, because we want a lead from you, right? What are they going to get? Get a free rental analysis. I think it's interesting. It says schedule a free rental analysis. Usually it might be like get a free rental analysis. So I don't know if after this step, it has me pick a time on your calendar or something, but I think the word schedule is interesting. But unlock monthly rental value, find out blah, 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 name, phone, email, and they're agreeing to do text, which is cool. So you do this, then you start sending them text message marketing, send your info. Then we have more testimonials, right? This is pulled from Gather Kudos, which you can get at gatherkudos.com. So it crawls your review sites, pulls in your most recent reviews, and you can see dates on these, right? This was like a year ago. So you may want to like put some attention on capturing some new reviews in your process. And that's a growth engine we can help you build, Dennis. So We are the experts in Northern LA property management, Northern LA County. So we've got some language that maybe for the local search engines or local SEO. And then we end with a nice, clear call to action. Maximize your financial returns with support from our management experts. Contact us, which goes to the contact page. Then we have the additional stuff. We have the Gather Kudos review tool here where they can leave you a review. And some legalese that's probably relevant or important for accessibility guidelines, but that's basically it. So some little tweaks or changes. This is pretty good. This is obviously a site that we did a few years ago or so. I would maybe see if I could get a photo for Keith, so that one becomes as real looking as this one. And then I would maybe move the trust symbols and like near this form could increase the conversion rates of this form, like maybe off to the left and the form's off to the right or something like that. Just have some trust symbols or below could increase conversion rates of people filling out that form or reaching out. Just little tweaks. So let's look at Zia management. So this has a video background. Web designers love this, but it's not generally super effective and it doesn't load on everything. And it makes the load time sometimes heavy on sites and stuff like this. I don't think there's as big of a benefit to this. The content is more important, right? So you do have a headline, remove the hassle and drama of being a landlord, but it's not clear anywhere above the fold here. Do you do what I need? I need a manager in Phoenix. Are you in Phoenix? Probably not. Right? Or maybe, I don't know. Or where are you at? Right? And so there's other context clues. Like if I'm looking at their site and I know Santa Clarita and I'm local, I know 661 might be relevant because I can look at that, even if it didn't mention Santa Clarita right here. Right? But here we don't see a phone number. It doesn't mention the location. So we're not answering the first question they have. So now they've got to figure out, how do I answer that first question? So then they're starting to dig around. They're like trying to read this and like, they're like, well, where do they do this? Here's what they do, but I'm not going to read any of it because I'm still trying to figure out, do they even do what I need? And I'm not clear yet. Right? Oh, here's 760. Maybe that's an area code I'm familiar with. Maybe I'd go and check out their properties. And I'm like, okay, like family homes, do they have some? And try and look and see if I see any listings and see what cities they're in, right? And so that, I think that would be a big leak. So if we could solve that, that would be significant. Like the first question, like what are you doing where? Second question is, why should I choose you? Which is what this is answering. So this would be a great sub headline. We're just missing that main headline. That should be your H1 title tag. And H1 is the ultimate heading on a website in HTML code. And the H1 tag should mention property management and the main keyword, city or area that you're targeting, that you hope people would Google, right? Like for verified, it'd be Santa Clarita property management. So as long as it includes those words in any sort of order, it's going to be beneficial. And yeah. And if we look at this code, look up, oops, not the definition. How do we do this? Oh, inspect. Here we go. We look at this and you can't see it. It opened up in a new window, but it's an H1 tag and whatnot, right? So you can right click on things and see. So that's set up correctly. All right. So we've covered a lot of different things that increase or cost conversions. Some other things I'll bring up. I'm not seeing these as on any of these sites. He's got trust symbols here at the bottom, which is cool. But all right, let's look at these social media icons, for example. So anything that is going to lead people away from your website, like get them to go somewhere else, never put that at the top of the page. It's like the worst thing. Like if they get to the bottom of your entire site and then they see your social media and are like, well, let's check these guys out on Instagram or LinkedIn and see if they have some reviews or what they're all about. Do they have a YouTube channel? Let's see. Oh, here we go. Here's some videos. He looks like he's well dressed. Cool, right? So, but we don't want to put these above the fold typically. And I'll see this on a lot of older sites is they put a bunch of social media icons up at the top. Web designers love to do it because it just looks cool. It's like, hey, we added something extra here. It's like another bell and whistle that I can charge them for or something. But putting social media icons up at the top of the page, sometimes they might be like, ooh, they have a YouTube. I'm going to go check that out, which in Baron's instance might be a good thing. Maybe they start watching some videos of his. But if they go to Facebook, they might go here and they'll be like, oh, I'm on Facebook. And oh, look, I've got 20 notifications. And oh, Susie liked my cat photo. And I'm going to, oh, and then you've lost them, right? And they start getting distracted. Oh, I've got 5 notifications, 3 chats going on. Like, what's going on? Or I've got this and like, right? So, oh, Brian liked my post, right? So then they might get distracted. And so we don't want to send people to places where you're going to lose them. We want to keep people in our ecosystem. One thing you'll notice about Facebook is they incentivize constantly people coming into the site and they make it difficult to leave the site intentionally. In fact, if you go and send a DM or a message on Facebook to like more than 50 people with an external link, they'll block your account for like 24 hours. It's that important to them. And so, but if you're sending them to a Facebook link or a Facebook video or a Facebook group, they are a little more lenient about you spamming people like that, right? So just be aware. Their goal is to keep people on their site. Your goal should be to keep your traffic and people on your site, consuming your information, your content. So, so maybe even better than having videos off on a separate page where they start getting sucked into YouTube and watching the latest video from Mr. Beast or something. We could add like a video page to your site. So we just did this on doorgrow.com/case studies. And we embedded a playlist of our testimonial playlist. So we've got all these testimonial videos here on the page. And if they click this, they're not on YouTube. It loads the video, right? And oh, I'm going to stop this. All right. How do I get out of this light box though? I'm trapped. Oh, here we are. There we go. So we've got that. And then we've got some embedded videos down below as well. The clients we've helped, stuff like this. Cool. So, but we're keeping them on the page. Now I'm breaking my own rule. I do have, did I? Oh no, I switched this too. So instead of sending them to our YouTube playlist of all the funny videos that Sarah and I have made, I created a page for it. So we're not sending people off the site, right? They can watch these here on the site. So, and you should check out our funny videos. They're funny. All right. So, those are some key things. There's a lot more that goes into websites that can make websites more or less effective. But those are some key ingredients. If you want to grade your website, you can go to doorgrow.com/quiz. If you go to doorgrow.com/quiz, you can grade your website. It'll give you a grade. It'll ask you to answer questions. It'll ask like, what's your menu like? And do you have people on the page? And are they stock photos or are they you? Or it's going to ask you a bunch of questions and it'll give you a letter grade, like just like in elementary school as you go through it. Most of my clients, if we've done the site, should get at least a B grade out of the gate. And the difference between a B and an A grade usually is just like your photos, content photos of you and your team, just some of the little extra details, stuff like that. Another factor that used to be more significant in the past, but it still can be a factor, is if you have live chat on your website. That also can increase conversion rates, especially if it is actively staffed, maybe during the day, or it's set up to capture info or capture a lead. So you'll notice that on doorgrow.com, we have live chat on a chat tool on our website that captures people's info and captures a lead and initiates a conversation sometimes. And that can help us get some people starting conversations with us and whatnot. Cool. All right. Anybody have any questions about this or any of this? And I'll look in the chat. I love that headline, Baron, Sarah says. All right. Cool. All right. Anybody have any questions about this? Any of this stuff? All right, cool. Then go make some money. And if you need some help with your website and you're a client of ours, then, just reach out to Adam on our team. And if you're not yet a client, then reach out to us. We would love to help you get your website optimized. We've noticed, we've kind of set the trends in the industry as to what converts and what's effective. We've noticed 4.5 copies us. We've noticed property manager websites copies us, but they don't understand why I do what I do. They probably won't even watch this training and they don't understand the reason behind why we put things where we do, but they start to copy our designs a little bit. And over time, things gravitate towards what works. And so, and trends are always changing, and there's always new temptations of things to throw on websites that may be unnecessary. But social proof, testimonials, trust symbols, all of these things build and create trust. And so if you look at your website from the standpoint of what's going to help them to trust us, that's largely the whole point of the website, is to facilitate trust and to make it easy for them to get the information that they need and make it easy for them to communicate with you and reach out. And so if you do those things, you're going to be making a lot more money. And so I wish everybody success. And until next time, to our mutual growth. Bye, everybody.